Hello there. Welcome into a Friday edition of the show. So glad to have you, whether you're listening on your radio, streaming the show online at extrasports1300.com, or you've downloaded the Extra Sports 1300 app to do your listening. And that app, which is free to download and free to use, is brought to you by Diversus Health, Mental Health, and Well-Being for All. Half the show, but all of the effort done at 4:30 today for Air Force hockey, the conference opener against RIT. Two guests, on the show today. Donovan Lewis, who is an outstanding show host down in Dallas on the ticket, will join me to preview Sunday's game. I have some lasting thoughts, some remaining thoughts on that game that I will share with you during the program. Our Extra Sports Athlete of the Week has been kind enough to join me in studio. So we'll get to that at the bottom of the hour, and the rest of the remaining time, it's you and me. If you want to text or call into the show, 719-247-1313. Let's start with basketball. And if you would have told me yesterday Nikola Jokic was going to open the season with a triple-double, a 20-point triple-double, no less, Jamal Murray would shoot over 50% from the field, and Aaron Gordon would drop 50, and the Nuggets would lose, I would call you a liar to your face. I would be Ron Burgundy. I don't believe you. So I'm glad that I saw it with my own eyes, because all of that happened, and yet the Nuggets still lost. 137-131 in overtime. The last 5 minutes of that fourth quarter cost them the game. That was everything. It was going well enough. I mean, they started down 10-0, but they went on a huge run of their own, and then the game settled in from there. And I thought there was a lot of good, but the last 5 minutes of that basketball game, the Nuggets they didn't close, which is weird because they are a team that over the years has been one of the better closing teams in basketball. But they didn't do it on their end of the floor, and then Steph Curry went berserker. I mean, you want the game summed up, that's what it was. Nuggets struggled the last 5 minutes of the game, and Steph Curry went all Steph Curry. And that forced overtime, and there was no way the Nuggets were going to pull that out in overtime given the way they have played down the stretch. And it looked like because look, if Steph Curry just goes off the way he did, there was still a path for the Denver Nuggets to win that game. But he can't outscore the Denver Nuggets team by himself in the last 5 minutes of the game, which I think he doubled up the Nuggets in the last 5 minutes of the game. That can't happen. And it kind of looked like Curry heating up got the Nuggets a little bit off kilter. They played nervy. The couple of turnovers, Christian Brown had one, Jamal Murray had one, couple of missed shots that you wouldn't expect the Nuggets to miss, Nikola Jokic included. It looked like with Steph Curry doing what he was on the other end of the floor that the Nuggets were either trying to just waste the rest of the game. There's one sequence where Jamal Murray is dribbling it for what felt like 20 minutes, just dribbling it. And then he tries to force up a tough shot. It just had the Denver Nuggets off, I think. Just lost the plot at the end of the regulation. And it's disappointing because they absolutely squandered an all-timer from Aaron Gordon. And Aaron Gordon, after the game, wanted no part of the kudos he was going to be given.
It sucks. They're asking if I wanted a game ball, and no, I don't want a game ball. take an L home with me. Well, thank you. So it sucks, but it's one game. It's our first game. It's a good team. It's a really good team. It's hard to win on the road. You got to execute offensively and defensively down the stretch. We're going to reconvene, watch the film, and go back home and try and play better in our home opener.
And that's who Aaron Gordon is. That's who he's been this entire time for the Denver Nuggets. And I think it kind of sets a tone, even in a loss, of what this Nuggets season is, where their mindset is, because Aaron Gordon's the heartbeat of this team, the soul of this team. So you can take what he says and believe that that's kind of the general feeling in the locker room, that any individual accolades, any individual performances that come in a loss don't matter. And I think even if that didn't exist, if you didn't believe that existed throughout the Nuggets locker room, the fact that Aaron Gordon is setting that tone means that other guys are going to pick up on this. This is a very business-like season from the Denver Nuggets. There's no time for fluff and game balls and losses and all celebrating the little victories. It's you get an idea that it's very business-like, the way that the Denver Nuggets are approaching this season. But Aaron Gordon just continues to be whatever the Nuggets need him to be. It's quite remarkable, because you saw it in Game 7 against the Thunder last year, the way he gutted that out, the way he put really his career on the line to go out there, and he just tried to do whatever he could to help the Denver Nuggets win, and that's Aaron Gordon in a nutshell. You need his defense, you need his rebounding, that's every single night. But do you need him to be a scorer one night? Okay, he can do that. That was last night. You need him to kind of take a back seat and allow others to be the scorer. He'll do that, and he'll do it happily. So last night, clearly, the Denver Nuggets needed Aaron Gordon to score 50 points, and it still was not enough. It's not going to be his role every night. It's not going to be his role this season to be the third scorer outside of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. But on any given night where Cam Johnson kind of felt like a bystander, like he was kind of feeling his way through, understanding that last year is probably the best offensive year you're ever going to see from Christian Braun, once in a while, Aaron Gordon's going to have to do that, and he did last night, and he was phenomenal. And the Denver Nuggets let him down.
I'll say it right now. Like, I feel awful for Aaron. Aaron had a night that, I'll never forget. I know he won't. So tough loss. Had many chances to win the game, control the game, and you give them credit. They just kept coming.
That was, of course, head coach David Adelman. If you need to be reacquainted with him, he is now the full-blown head coach of the Denver Nuggets. Aaron Gordon last year had a career year shooting the three. And you do have to wonder, not that Aaron Gordon putting up 50 is going to be a thing, but you wonder with the improvement he made shooting the basketball from three last year. And the Nuggets guy that you think of when you think of three-point shooting, Michael Porter being gone, and then Cam Johnson can fill that role, certainly. But again, it looks like it's going to take him some time to kind of fit in with the group. They're going to need that from Aaron Gordon. Three-point shooting has been a conversation, and first it was Nikola Jokic who took it upon himself to improve his three-point shooting, and then it was Aaron Gordon. Last year, he took threes at the highest rate he had any year he's been in Denver since his first one. And that was kind of still being new, coming over from Orlando where they asked him to do a lot more. I think he felt compelled to take more threes. And then he started to settle into his role and realize, okay, I don't have to do everything I did in Orlando. I got to do these couple of things. But now, because the depth on this team has been sapped, because of the urgency that comes along with being a champion, Aaron Gordon has taken it upon himself to not only take more threes, but make sure those threes go in with the work he's put in the offseason. So he took threes last year at the same rate he did in year one in Denver, and yet shot the ball 8% better. I think he may take more threes this year than he ever has in a Nuggets uniform. Because remember, last year he missed 30 games. Right? So the rate of taking threes was comparable to his first full season in Denver, but the quantity wasn't there because he missed time. If he's healthy, and with Michael Porter out of this team, I think they're going to need that. Maybe timely threes, almost maybe like some kind of amalgamation between what Aaron Gordon has always been, what Michael Porter, the good that Michael Porter did, and then maybe a touch of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope taking those big shots when it's necessary. Because there was one last night where score was tied 117-117. Nikola Jokic is backing his man down and then kicks it out to an open Aaron Gordon, and you could hear through the ESPN broadcast the groan from Warriors fans. Like, as soon as Gordon caught it, they're like, oh, no. And sure enough, he made it. So I think three-point shooting Aaron Gordon last year was a revelation. I think this year it's somewhere closer to being a necessity, or at least a thing that you can expect. Again, not 10 of 11 leading to 50 points, but he's going to have to do some of what he did last night for the Nuggets to get to where they want to go. But disappointing way to lose a game given a career night from one of your players. Steph Curry's amazing. That continues. But there was no moral victories. That's not the policy around here, but there was a lot of good. I mentioned Jokic, Murray. They did what they're supposed to do. And one thing, I don't know if you did this or didn't do this during the game last night. I don't know that I looked over at the scorers table expecting to see Nikola Jokic as much as I did last year. Like, there were a couple, I was texting with somebody last night, and we kind of both at the same time had the same thought, like, we haven't seen Nikola Jokic in a while, which is kind of jarring, because when he goes out of the game, you give it like a minute or so, and then you're like looking over at the scores table. Okay, is he up now? Is he coming back in now? Give credit to Jonas Valanciunas. Didn't play a ton of minutes, but he held down the fort. The Nuggets, by extension, held down the fort with Nikola Jokic out of the game. And look, their numbers are going to be worse without him, right? But it's just where's the sweet spot that they can find to mitigate some of the damage of him going out of the game. And I thought they did a pretty good job of that last night. Cam Johnson needs to figure out his role. Tim Hardaway needs to make threes. That's what he's brought in to do. But a lot of positive, just a rough 5-minute stretch and an all-timer, having an all-timer down the stretch led the Nuggets to that first loss of the season. 719-247-1313. Take your thoughts on the Nuggets last night. Get into the Avs last night. Similar game in many ways. Maybe just reverse the order a little bit. Talk about that a little bit later. But coming up next, we'll shift our focus to the Broncos and Cowboys on Sunday. Donovan Lewis from The Ticket in Dallas next. Welcome back, Drive Time Sports. Sunday's going to be an interesting one. Broncos looking to put together a full 4 quarters. Dak Prescott saying this is one he wants to cross off. Sunday feels big. Joining me now is the outstanding host of The Invasion, which you can hear 8 to noon Mountain Time on 98.7 and 1310 The Ticket in Dallas. He is Donovan Lewis. Donovan, pleasure to have you, man. How are you?
I am fantastic, man. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Let me ask you, in your neck of the woods, how big does this game feel?
Oh, it's huge. It's pivotal. We've been talking about this all week as far as how you go about the rest of your season. Are you active at the trade deadline? We've heard the rumors about them making calls about Max Crosby, maybe Trey Hendrickson, but this game will decide if this year can be saved. Now, we all don't think that this defense is a one-person fix. But if you win this game in Denver on the road, the first time you've beaten a team that's any good, then they may have a mindset of using the assets that they got from Green Bay. And I think everyone around here wants them to pump the brakes a bit on using those assets, as you traded away a guy that you're looking to go get when you already had someone to rush the passer here, and that's what they're looking for. So this one is big, man. They had a good defensive game last week against Washington. And now everyone is thinking, can they do this again? Can we get some defensive consistency from this team? And if you can, then I think we feel around here that the NFC East is wide open. Don't think Philadelphia is the team that they used to be and they can easily be caught. So if that's the case, then the NFC East and a guaranteed playoff spot is right there if you get this game. This one is really, really, truly huge.
Did you think that you would be having this kind of conversation about the Cowboys when the season started?
No way, not even close. No, didn't know what this defense was going to be, and they're kind of proving that to us. We just didn't know what to expect. You know what? To be honest with you, I don't think we knew what to expect from Dak. Coming off the injury, had no clue if he was going to be the guy that he is right now. He was not good before he got hurt last year. He was throwing a lot of interceptions. Man, that's not usually how he does. So we had no clue how George Pickens was going to work, and that's worked swimmingly, and especially the running back room. No idea Javonte Williams was going to do what he's doing right now. So not only can I just pin this on the defense about earlier this season, we had no clue what this offense was going to look like. But now that you've seen it, you go, okay, they have the offense to do a little something, but this defense still has tons of questions.
And look, if I had any idea Javonte Williams would look like he does with you, I would have reached out, Donovan. I had no,
right.
I had no. We didn't see this guy last year. I mean, has he talked about why he's having this kind of a season with Dallas?
We always now with the way guys come back from injuries, and you think, oh, you pop an ACL, oh, you'll be fine just the next year. And not realizing that it probably takes different guys a lot of time to get back to where they are. But you're seeing a version of Javonte that you haven't seen. Even in his rookie year, he was really good. But I don't think we noticed him like what he's doing right now. It's a different animal now. And maybe you just never know. People need a change of scenery, some type of motivation. I don't know. But it's something to where when they signed Javonte Williams in free agency, it got the biggest meh around here you can ever even imagine. And then they signed Miles Sanders, and it was even a bigger meh. And we were pounding the table in the draft saying, get a running back. You've let running back slide or get away from you in the draft that you should regret. And they didn't do it until the 5th round. So we're like, okay, you know what? This is just not going to work. And he's been an absolute pleasant surprise around here as far as his ability to fall forward and to be tough and get those tough yards and break tackles. Like we haven't seen that around here since prime Zeke. So I think Dallas has been pining for a guy that can go get those tough yards out there.
Donovan Lewis, host of The Invasion on 1310 The Ticket in Dallas, my guest. What matchup are you more intrigued by on Sunday? Lamb versus Surtain or Pickens versus Moss?
Oh, man. I think it's Lamb versus Surtain. And if they're going to have him follow CD around, I think Dak's in a place now to where he's not afraid of those matchups. A lot of quarterbacks will probably look the other way and not challenge Surtain. I think Dak's in a place to where he's saying, hey, man, screw this. We have the number 1 offense in the NFL. Let's just go and see. Now, you're not going to be crazy. Just like when the Cowboys played the Jets, and it was Sauce Gardner on George Pickens. He only had 3 catches, but one was very significant as he threw it deep and went for a touchdown. So I kind of suspect something like that as far as Lamb goes with against Surtain. But when they have the ball and George Pickens is out there, the confidence that they have in him right now and the chemistry that he developed when CeeDee Lamb was out with Dak Prescott just makes you think that, hey, he's going to try him. And I'm a little nervous about that, man, because I love Denver's defense. I really do. I think they are fast and nasty and going to be the biggest challenge that Dallas has for this top offense probably all year long. I really, truly do. So I think it's strength versus strength, and it's going to be a fantastic matchup all the way around. And that's not even excluding your front against the Cowboys offensive line. They've invested heavily in the offensive line. 3 first-round draft picks, a 3rd-round draft pick, and Terrence Steele on the right side. And they are going to have the challenge of the year with that defensive front for Denver, knowing they can get out to the quarterback leading the league in sacks. So I'm excited to see that whole entire matchup. I know Surtain and CeeDee Lamb is like the headliner, like the two heavyweights on the main card. But the trenches, man, are going to be very, very important for Dallas because you don't know what Tyler Guyton is. We don't know what Tyler Guyton is. Is he the guy at left tackle? And just all those matchups up front it's going to be a nice watch, man. I think it's going to be fun.
But you've watched enough football to know this. It's probably going to be it's not going to be Dak versus Benito and Cooper that decides this game. It's going to be Knicks against the Cowboys defense because that's how it always works. So as you've watched the Denver Broncos, and more importantly, as you've watched the Dallas defense, what do you think they're going to try and do to Bo Nix?
Well, we've been having this issue in Dallas as far as this defense goes with Matt Eberflus. It feels like it's the players versus Matt Eberflus. They want to run more man because that's how they do make their money. And Eberflus is trying to run his own system. And early in the year, it just didn't work. And then last week against Washington, they ran about 48% man, and it's the best defensive performance they've had. Now, all this week, all the coaches have been saying, well, the analytics told us to do more, play more man against Washington. Well, guess what? The analytics should probably tell you to run more man against Denver also and the rest of the year because your defense looked its best when it did it. So I'm not trying to avoid the question, Ryan. I really, truly am not. I have no clue what this Dallas defense is going to do. We have no idea if they can consistently put back-to-back good weeks together like they've done because the defense has been so bad this year, trying to figure it out. Communication has been bad, trying to run that zone, and they've looked lost. They made Russell Wilson look like a Pro Bowl quarterback, and he lost his job the next week. They couldn't stop the run against the Jets, but unfortunately for the Jets, they got down so early that they had to ditch the run game and pass where they couldn't use it effectively. And then Carolina ran all over them like they were one of the top teams in the NFL. So I truly don't know what we're going to get out of this Cowboy defense. Was it because Washington is down their top 3 receivers? Is that one of the reasons why they look decent? I don't know. Jaden Daniels went out. Was that the reason? It's a toss-up, man, because I think the general consensus around here is that they can't do it consistently. So I think we're kind of expecting a letdown, but the only asterisk is that can Bo Nix take advantage of it? Because if you saw what he did in the first 3 quarters against the Giants,
which I did.
Even if you're not at your best, you have a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But that 4th quarter, if that Bo Nix shows up, that Bo Nix can dominate the Cowboys defense if they go back to playing some of the bad defense that they played before that Washington game. So it's going to kind of have to work both ways as far as which Bo Nix is going to show up and which Cowboys defense is going to show up.
Yeah, the parallels between these two teams are really interesting because we're trying to figure out what the Broncos offense is. You're trying to figure out what the Dallas defense is. And I think there's a sense with both of these teams, certainly with the Broncos, if they can't do it for 4 quarters against the Dallas defense, it may never happen. And I'm kind of picking up the same thing. If the Dallas defense can't at least hold down the Denver Broncos like everyone else has through 3 quarters, then it may never happen for Dallas this season.
I think that's exactly right. I think that's why both this game for both teams is kind of you're at the crossroads a bit because Kansas City struggled a bit out the gate. So you're thinking, okay, Kansas City maybe had this AFC West probably as open as it's been in the last half decade because they're not playing well, and then your team, the Broncos, that just aren't living up to what they think they can be on offense. Man, we have a healthy respect for Cortland Sutton. He went to SMU. He
Hmm.
played college football in Dallas, so we all know about Cortland. Good dude, great dude. And that running game with Dobbins and Harvey, you have to have a healthy respect for that too. But can they put that all together? It's strength versus strength with the Cowboys offense and the Broncos defense, and then it's weakness versus weakness with the Broncos offense and the Cowboys defense. And now, which one of the weaker units can have the better day is probably going to determine the outcome of this matchup. And I think we're both in the same boat of I don't know which one is going to show up. So we don't know exactly how to look at this game or what we're going to say who's going to win this game because it's been so Heckle and Jekyll and Hyde, not Heckle and Hyde. That doesn't make any sense. Jekyll and Hyde with both sides of the ball that you just don't know what you're going to get week to week.
Well, I look at the TV maps. It's a good thing that pretty much everyone in America is going to be getting this game because it is absolutely fascinating on Sunday, Dallas and Denver. Donovan Lewis, your insight has been extremely valuable. Appreciate it and enjoy the game on Sunday.
Hey, thank you, man. Let's do this again. I know the
Yeah.
Cowboys and the Broncos don't play each other too often, man, but this was fun. Let's do this again sometime.
I will take you up on that, Donovan, for sure.
Okay.
Donovan Lewis, he is an outstanding host of the Invasion 8 to noon Mountain on 1310 The Ticket in Dallas. Talk more about this game coming up. Up next, more immediate future, our athlete of the week joins me in studio here on Extra Sports 1300. Welcome back, Drive Time Sports, with 57% of the fan vote. Udvait Jadov of Pine Creek is our Extra Sports Athlete of the Week. And as you can see, if you're watching the live stream, he is kind enough to join me in studio. Good to have you, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I don't know how excited you are about this, but I promise you it's not more excited than Mom is. Who's joining us in studio.
Yeah, for sure. It's I guess hers and my dream to always like be on TV, be on like radio or
nice.
Or like be in like newspapers or something.
Mhm.
So it's always great, and like high school tennis has really like allowed me to like be in newspapers and like like right here with you.
Mhm.
Like I'm really grateful of this opportunity.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure to have you. I will say just for the future, because I am doing this, please in a few years don't come take my job. I like my job.
Yeah.
You can go like maybe we can work together or you can work somewhere else. Just please don't take my job.
Yeah, no.
So you were so first let's embarrass Mom a little bit.
Yeah.
How important has she been to supporting you as you're getting? I mean, this is a big year for you, right?
Yeah,
Getting into high school and everything like that. How
Yeah.
big has Mom been
She's
for
been
you?
so supportive, of course. She's been like kind of like the backbone
Mhm.
because I'm like so it's been so chaotic high school and everything. It's like my first year of high school, and then like I'm traveling for all these tennis tournaments and everything. So then I'm missing so much days, everything, and she's always like filling my attendance, doing everything like that's needed.
And making sure that you're still getting your homework done while you're on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, really advocating for me.
Yeah. How long? When did you start playing tennis?
I started playing tennis since like when I was 6.
Mhm.
I used to play like a lot of other sports
Mhm.
before that, and I was pretty good at badminton. And my dad just like inferred like you might like tennis.
Mhm.
So then we went to like those public tennis courts near Garden of the Gods,
Mhm.
and we brought like this Walmart tennis racket, and then we got a couple of balls, and he was trying to teach me the strokes. And then after I got a bit of hang of it, I really liked it.
Mhm.
And ever since then, I've never looked back.
Mhm. Do you enjoy some people are more team sports oriented.
Yeah.
Do you like the individual aspect of tennis?
I like both. I really
Yeah.
like playing doubles too.
Yeah.
I've kind of got used to it, but I love competing.
Mm.
And so like just playing tournaments and everything, like I really enjoy it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I feel like you can really prove yourself there. Tennis like brings out your mental strength, your physical strength, and like at some moments you're like, oh my god, how did I just do that? How did I get out of this hole? How did I pull out this tight match? How did I save so many match points and everything? It's really fun. It's like you're a coal and you turn into diamonds.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So did your dad play tennis, or did he just notice something in you?
Yeah, he used to play like not like college tennis or something, but he used
Mhm.
to just play for fun for a bit. But yeah, he didn't have too much technique or anything. But like YouTube coaches have helped me out so much. And yeah, like the ecosystem for tennis here isn't like too good in Colorado if you look at California and Florida, but the community we have here for tennis is more than enough.
Yeah.
Like I play with a lot of older guys, and like Jay, if you're listening, and Pat, if you're listening, I just want to say thanks for hitting with me. And yeah, they've always been there for me, and they've helped my tennis game. Yeah, so like it's great.
Is your dad unafraid to step across the net from you?
Oh. Yeah. Well, yeah, like I guess he's not scared, but
Right.
like he has to rally with me no matter what. I need another player on the other side.
There
But
you go.
yeah, I can beat him though. So
Yeah. I'm sure like while you're away at a tournament, he probably after work, he's probably grinding away and getting
Yes,
his
for
game
sure.
up. So next time you guys play, he's up to the level he needs to be.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you were nominated for your performance at state, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Just what was that entire experience like as a freshman to be able to compete for a state title?
Well, yeah, like starting off like as a freshman, whenever you play tennis, you usually don't get this atmosphere. It was a crazy atmosphere, like high school tennis, especially as you kept going up regionals. Like when I was playing in the finals, the other team was just screaming and everything. And like I'm used to it because I've like in Las Vegas, everyone's like that. But I've never actually played like that in here, and everyone's cheering for you. It's like a team versus team thing. It was really cool. And yeah, like I want to thank our coaches, Jason Workentine and Claudia. They've made our environment like so nice. You can just thrive in it, you know. And our whole team's so supportive. And you know, just Pine Creek as a whole school is really supportive. So like going into state, I didn't feel like I was lacking support or anything. Some people didn't make it to state, and they still came to cheer for me.
That's
So
awesome.
then I really that really touched my heart, and I'm really grateful for that.
I gotta ask you about this epic match you had in the
Yeah.
semifinal. Have you ever played a match like that? I mean, it's the longest match you've played, right? But
Yeah, because we usually don't play like full 3 sets.
right.
But yeah, we last time when I played him, it went just as close. So yeah, but last time I won. So this time he got the better of me.
Yeah.
But it was a really good match. The tennis we were bringing out in each other was really good, because you need a good player on the other side to bring the best out of you as well. So
Absolutely.
crazy like long rallies, like 3 hours 30 minutes, not a joke.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know, a loss like that, though, you know this, can kind of stick with you. I mean, it's almost like that first match the next day, you got to make sure that that opponent doesn't beat you twice, right? Because obviously, I'm sure there was a level of disappointment, but that's also kind of part of who you've been this year, because every time you've suffered a setback, which hasn't been a lot this year, let's be real about that, you've been able to bounce back immediately.
Yeah.
What goes into that for you to be able to turn around and compete as well as you did the very next match?
Well, for sure, like these are like tough losses.
Mhm.
But if you look at like the GOATs, like the big three and everyone in tennis, they only win 50% of their points. And they have won one of like the most titles. So it really shows that you should be able to forget the bad losses, but like learn from it, you know? So I don't take it as a loss. I take it as something I learned from. And you know, if they beat me, I want to beat them back. And that's what I really like about tennis, is that maybe not so much in team sports, you can't really like show them, yeah, I just beat you, but you can in tennis.
Let me ask you, because you brought up the big three: Federer, Nadal. Which one?
I used to like Federer a lot, but then there's Djokovic, the third one.
You're right. I should have said that.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
Djokovic,
because-
Nadal, or Federer.
Yeah, no. I used to really like Federer a lot. Like when I was young, I think my dad really influenced me on that.
Yeah.
But I realized Djokovic is kind of like similar and like personality to me, because we're always fighting on the court. I'm not saying no one else is. I'm just saying that I love his fighting attitude on court. He's like when the crowd's against him or something, he comes back stronger. And yeah, when the crowd's ever like against me, when they're all cheering against me, I just feel like, it's kind of like a Djokovic situation. I got to play like him. And so I usually do win those matches when everyone's cheering against me.
So how about more currently? You a Sinner guy or are you an Alcaraz guy?
Okay, some people might not like me saying this, but I'm a Sinner guy. I just love his relentless attacking. Alcaraz has like those crazy shots and everything. But I'm like, dude, you're so young. How are you doing this? It'll make me feel a bit more better of myself.
Yeah, well, that next year you'll mix in some of those. I know. You'll get back in the lab and you'll come up with some Carlos Alcaraz type shots. So let me ask you, now moving forward, you mentioned growing up, growing up, you're still growing up.
Yeah.
But you mentioned your interest in other sports. Are you going to do some other sports? Is it just lock in on school now for a while? What's next for you?
Well, I don't know. Like, tennis is like my main sport.
Sure.
I have lots of passion for it. But I know, like, for sure, like other sports influence your game here. Like Stinner, he used to be a skier, national skier, and that's really helped his movement in tennis. So doing 2 sports, at least, especially when you're young, is really good for tennis or other sports. Just being athletic. Like I know for a fact, gymnastics, even though it might like not be the first choice for boys or someone, is really good for flexibility. You won't get injured on the tennis court enough. So
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
So what are you thinking? What are you gonna decide to
I
do?
might do some basketball, some soccer,
Nice.
and I don't really approve of pickleball, but I'm good at it, so it's fun.
Yeah, I got to imagine like somebody who plays tennis is gonna, not that you look down on pickleball, but you're like, okay, like I can do the other
Yeah,
thing, and I would
exactly.
kind of rather do that
Yeah,
than
and then they're like, "Oh, how'd you hit that shot?" I'm like, "It's court small."
yeah,
Yeah.
it's easier. So, well, awesome, man. So if you're playing, for Pine Creek and anything else, maybe you'll come back in for the next time you win Athlete of the
Yeah.
Week. And in the meantime, man, you ever want to come in, you crushed it. So you want to
Yeah.
come in and talk sports any day,
Yeah.
man. Come on.
Yeah, for sure. Just
Come
invite
through.
me. I'm always open.
All right, right on. Well, Advait Jadev, really appreciate the time, man. Congratulations
Thank you.
on a great season and this Athlete of the Week, well-deserved honor. And I invite you listening out there to make sure that you nominate a future Extra Sports Athlete of the Week, and we'll have more nominees for you on Monday. Just go to extrasports1300.com to cast your vote. Our Athlete of the Week sponsored by Blackjack Pizza and Salads. More Drive Time Sports after this. Welcome in already down to the last half an hour because Air Force hockey begins at the bottom of the hour. Big one, big weekend for them as they open up conference play against RIT. Jay Ritchie standing by in Rochester as we speak. In the meantime, if you'd like to interact, got a couple of topics I want to throw out there. So if you have an opinion, 719-247-1313, that's the number to either call or text. Speaking of this, coming in from Drewski from the 719, one more stuff with you and Donovan Lewis. That was awesome. It was. Donovan's great, and I will be taking him up on his offer. And 2, defense wins games, so I'll give it to the Broncos. But I do think the sentiment I shared with Donovan, I do think that's the way it's going to go on Sunday. I think the Cowboys offense versus the Broncos defense, I think it's almost a wash. Right? I mean, those two units have been equally outstanding this year. Broncos arguably the best defense in the league. Cowboys arguably the best offense in the league. And like you said, Drewski, yeah, we do tend to see defense win out on these kind of matchups. But when the roles are reversed, that's what's so fascinating to me about Sunday's game. And I said this a couple of days ago. If it's not, and I repeated it with Donovan, if the Broncos can't get it going in quarters 1 through 3, then I don't know if it's going to happen. Like, I really don't. Because what other team do you look at on their schedule and say, okay, it's not going to happen against a Dallas Cowboys defense that is already without Micah Parsons, as you know. Now they're not going to have Diggs. So their best corners, their best pass rusher, they voluntarily traded. Their best corner is going to be out. They just announced within the last couple of hours. And with those two guys, the Dallas Cowboys defense has been in recent years one of those that the big play, they're able to do that, the big pick, the big sack. But they've always been a defense, I shouldn't say always, but in the last few years have been a defense that you can move the ball up and down the field on. But on that critical third down, here comes Micah Parsons. You try to get the ball to your best receiver, there's Diggs. They don't have that. So where's the area of resistance here from the Dallas defense to keep the Denver Broncos? Because that, we tend to focus everything through the Broncos. Well, let's give a little bit of credit here when it comes to Sunday to the Giants front. Right? There's a little bit of credit given to the New York Giants after Sunday, yes? So the opponent matters here. And some of the opponents that the Denver Broncos have gone up against have made it this way to where the Broncos can't seem to get anything going in the first 3 quarters. Now, a lot of it is on the Broncos, but there's some credit to be given to the opponent. We'll see if that Washington game, as Donovan Lewis mentioned, if that's like a precursor, if playing more man coverage suddenly unlocks this Dallas defense. But I'm just looking at them on the whole. The Broncos offense should be able to move the ball. And I think that is where I give my deciding vote to the Denver Broncos for Sunday. That's why I think they'll win, because I do think that they'll be able to move the ball for all 4 quarters There's still going to be lulls. I wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos start a little bit slow, because even when they end up having really good offensive games, they still start very slow. But I just trust the Broncos offense more than I trust the Cowboys defense. So if Cowboys offense versus Denver defense is a draw, give me the Broncos offense against the Dallas defense. That's where I'm kind of going here. But the timing of this game is interesting because the trade deadline's coming up. And if the Broncos can't, and, Donovan mentioned this for Dallas. Dallas is starting to have these thoughts of, hey, we're in a better spot than we thought we'd be in. The division looks open to some extent. Philadelphia isn't what they were last year. Washington's, their problem is they're just incredibly banged up. And then the Giants are not ready to take over that division. And you look at this game against the Broncos and you say, all right, if we're able to do some things, if we're able to win this game, then let's go. Let's try to do it. Well, it's the same thing for the Denver Broncos in terms of the trade deadline. But I'll take it a different way. It's not with the Broncos. It's not if they win this game, that means they should be in on someone at the trade deadline necessarily. I look at it more from the standpoint of if the offense sputters again, then I think you need to go into the trade deadline and try to get somebody to elevate your offense or to help your offense. And there was a piece on, I think it was CBSSports.com, that there's a lot of chatter around the league, or a lot of interest, I should say, around the league in what the Denver Broncos are going to do. Now, I don't think where they're at this point, their record where they are in the standings is a huge shock to Sean Payton, as maybe it could be to an extent to Brian Schottenheimer. But how they've gotten there certainly hasn't followed the script Sean Payton wrote. And it's been the offense that hasn't been what he expected it to be. And I said this the other day when we're talking about quarters 1 through 3 Bo Nix and quarter 4 Bo Nix, and just what he's going to be moving forward. I think there will come a time where the Broncos and Sean Payton have to look at themselves and say, look, we tried this no-name, Pat Bryant and, Troy Franklin and not going on the cheap with weapons, but just we're piecing this thing together. We're not using our premium draft capital. We're not spending a lot of money in free agency. There's going to come a point where the Broncos are going to realize they can't do that because of who Bo Nix is as a quarterback. And if they can't move the ball well all 4 quarters against the Dallas Cowboys, maybe that time would be, late Sunday night into Monday to say, all right, we got to do something. And Sean Payton talked about it this week, that it's not a what the Broncos need to do in order to get the offense going. It's more of a question of who should be out there. Are they using their personnel correctly? And I'll extend that to, do they even have the right personnel on the roster? Like Sean Payton's intimating that maybe it's not this guy, but it's this guy, the next spot down on the depth chart. I look at it and say, I don't know if that guy's on the depth chart. So Sunday can be very interesting in terms of that as well, because if the Broncos continue to struggle offensively, even against this defense, then the noise is certainly going to be quite loud for the Denver Broncos to go out and make a move. But if they move the ball for 4 quarters, and if there are some different ideas out there, whether it's personnel, whether it's tempo, whether it's play calling, letting Bo Nix use his legs more, if it looks different and the results are different, then my guess would be the Broncos are not inclined to go out and make a splashy move at the trade deadline. But if the ideas are different, if Sunday looks like Wednesday, as that has been the phrase of the week, Sean Payne talking about Sundays need to be more like Wednesdays or Wednesdays need to be more like Sundays. If it looks different, but the results aren't different, then maybe it's a personnel issue. But I don't label Sunday. You know, we've had some games recently for the Denver Broncos. Is this a must win? Is this, a perspective altering type game like going into Philadelphia and winning could be? I don't know that it's any of that. I just think this is kind of a showcase game. The best thing about Sunday is the entertainment value. Broncos defense versus Cowboys offense. But I do think that there's some significance to it as well. But I don't think that the Broncos have to win this game. They should. They're at home. And, defense beats offense, as Drewski pointed out. They should win this game. But is it a must win? No. Is it a game that if they lose, you're going to completely change your perspective on this Denver Broncos team? I don't think so either. Because let's extend a little bit of credit to the Dallas Cowboys, who are exceeding many people's expectations, and Dak Prescott is playing at an MVP level. And they've gotten this revelation that is Javonte Williams. So is Dallas an elite team? I don't think so, but they're good. They're a good team, and they're a great offense. And speaking of Javonte Williams, a lot of different people have been asked about it. And I think it was Vance Joseph that talked about his legs being underneath him. That's what he sees. I just think this version of Javonte Williams, you can look at it and say it could have been in Denver. Right? What reason, the way that J.K. Dobbins is running the football, why couldn't Javonte Williams run it like this? Like he is in Dallas right now. I think where the Broncos made the right call was they couldn't wait. They couldn't take that chance. With Dallas, Javonte Williams is this revelation and kind of found money. With the Denver Broncos, he'd be relied upon. And where the Denver Broncos are at and how they're trying to move forward, they couldn't risk it. They couldn't gamble on Javonte Williams being the same as he was last year, which was largely ineffective. So this is not a situation, and I love revenge games as much as the next guy, and, the whole idea of, did the Broncos make a mistake? I'll just say it right now, regardless of how Javonte Williams plays on Sunday, the Broncos didn't make a mistake because no one saw this Javonte Williams coming. And the Broncos were not in a situation, all they could do is look at what Javonte Williams was and decide, can we move forward with that? And they made the right decision to say, no, we can't. And they're doing pretty well, right? As long as Sean Payton runs the football. J.K. Dobbins has been quite good. So the Broncos aren't in a bad spot, having let go of Javonte Williams. And maybe in an alternate universe where the Broncos are a little bit more patient, maybe Javonte Williams would be this for them. Can't risk it. Not with how important it was for the Denver Broncos to get it right in the running game. But man, has he... Could you put Javonte Williams at the top of the list for most surprising? I don't know. Does that make him a comeback player of the year? I don't. But I just look at him, and there are a few players in this league that I have been more surprised by than Javonte Williams. Because I watched him. I've watched his entire career, especially last year. I didn't see this kind of performance coming. So just another aspect of what makes Sunday such an interesting game. 719-247-1313. Take your thoughts and predictions for Sunday. Coming up next, let's get into the Avs and what we saw last night from them against the Carolina Hurricanes. And my biggest takeaway is I kind of saw this coming. Got Air Force hockey coming up in less than 10 minutes. So I think a fitting way to close out the show is by talking about some hockey. Avalanche hockey, to be more specific. And you know me, I'm not one to toot my own horn, but beep, beep. And you know that I constantly find reasons to be able to do that. But look, you saw it too, right? And we talked about this the other day. Utah, in many ways, is a lesser version of Carolina, right? How they play, the skill level they have. Carolina just does a better job of a lot of things that Utah does. And Carolina has always been one of the best matchups for Colorado. Not in terms of they always beat them. No, it's back and forth. And I've said for years, I would love to see Carolina and Colorado in a Stanley Cup final. But a lot of that same stuff that you saw was it Monday? Tuesday. With Utah, you see it with Carolina. And they do it even to a greater degree, right? They, especially the one thing last night that you could have banked on was that the Avalanche were not going to figure out their power play in a big way against Carolina. The way that Carolina kills penalties, I don't know if they're the most successful team or the best team at it in the NHL, but I love the way they play on the penalty kill. They attack you, they go at you, and it got them, that pressure got them a shorthanded goal to make it 2-1 last night. So Carolina is one of those teams that the Avs got to really work at beating. They can. They have many a time, but it's one of those difficult matchups for the Colorado Avalanche. And give the Avs credit, right? They're just a team right now, and it all goes back to the comments Gabriel Landeskog made at Media Day. Like, he didn't work his rear end off to get back and just be a part of the team and just hang out with the guys. He came back to win more Stanley Cups. And I started the show by talking about Aaron Gordon, how he didn't care one iota about the fact that he had 50 points and wanted no part of the game ball they tried to present to him. It's kind of that same deal with Gabriel Landeskog. When the captain, which in many ways Aaron Gordon is the captain of the Denver Nuggets, you know, Gabriel Landeskog set a tone. And this is a team that's going to play with intent. The kind of a team on a mission vibe is what they've been giving off, and it's not always perfect. But here they are again in a game against a team that the way it was going probably should have lost in regulation, came back, fought for the point. And then you know where I'm at when it comes to this. The shootout, not a fan, don't acknowledge it. That means nothing to me. Last night was a stalemate between Carolina and Colorado. But this team just refuses to lose in a 60-minute hockey game. And I'm not saying, look, they're not the type of team you pat on the head and say, you know, good job and give them a gold star. Like, expectations are higher. But why this is good, despite how bad most of that night was last night, these points matter. These points matter greatly. And at the end of the season, if this Avs team with the way this Central Division is going, it's hard to think that the point that they were able to fight for and get in Utah and the point they were able to get last night won't become a factor. But in the end, this was another game like Tuesday against Utah where the Avs struggled to get to their game. And the power play was abysmal until the very end. And it was Valeri Nichushkin who scored the goal. Here's Jared Bednar on what Nichushkin brought to the top power play unit.
He was doing it 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3, power play, penalty kill. He was doing it all, So I thought he was our best player tonight. So we just decided to make the switch right away. And we figured it could possibly help both units.
And it did that one time. So maybe there's an answer there with Valeri Nichushkin, because Arturi Lehkonen is a guy that's, and I've been saying this, Avs got to get to the net. Get pucks and bodies to the net. And the one guy on that top power play unit that does that is Arturi Lehkonen. Well, maybe you need that mentality in a bigger body. Maybe you need someone that can muscle himself to the front of the net like Valeri Nichushkin can, and that was kind of what that goal was. So we'll see if that becomes a thing moving forward. Valeri Nichushkin with the top power play unit, but overall it was quite dreadful. But give credit to Carolina. They are a difficult matchup for this Avs team. They are. But Avs get the point. Probably a point that if you watched most of that game, you didn't feel they deserved, but they got it. And away they go. Back to back. They're off today. They play Boston tomorrow and New Jersey on Sunday, both on the road. And you can hear both of those games coincidentally here on Extra Sports 1300. One text before we go. Them's are fighting words. Where was your prodigal son, Makar, in the Nordiques Whalers game? That's what I thought. Well, their teams are, and John Michael Lyles talked about this on Altitude. They're rushing him. They're trying to take him away, and Carolina is a good penalty kill team, like I just said. And their main concern is Cale Makar quarterbacking that power play. And if you take him away, which they were able to do at times, the whole thing suffers. So that's where he was. He'll be okay. Don't worry. Cale Makar will be all right. One thing I will say in close, and then I'll get you to Jay Ritchie. I hated the whole shtick. I just got to say it. The whole Whalers Nordiques thing, I hated it. They were going in and out, calling the Avs the Nordiques. The graphics were, no. I didn't like any of that. Sweaters look sweet, but didn't like the whole, let's pretend it's the Whalers and the Nordiques. Let's not. So we'll end it on that positive note. Appreciate you tuning in, and I invite you to stay tuned in because right now, more hockey, which is always a good thing. Air Force and RIT here on Extra Sports 1300.